In 2018, a woman in Oregon made a discovery that would horrify the world. A small, wriggling creature inside her own eye. What started as a strange sensation soon turned into a viral story that shocked millions. Today, we dive deep into the bizarre and terrifying case of the woman with the worm in her eye. It all began on an ordinary day in Oregon. Abby Beckley, a 26-year-old outdoor enthusiast, was enjoying life, completely unaware of the nightmare that was about to unfold. But as the days went on, the irritation became unbearable. And then Abby saw it, something moving inside her eye. Abby did what any of us would do. She tried to flush it out with eye drops. She rubbed her eyes and she waited for the irritation to subside. But nothing worked. The feeling persisted. It was as if something was alive in there, moving, and no amount of blinking or rubbing could dislodge it. Finally, unable to ignore the growing unease, Abby decided to take a closer look. She stood in front of a mirror, carefully pulling down her lower eyelid. What she saw was nothing short of a nightmare, a small, translucent worm wriggling around in her eye. Imagine the shock, the fear. How could something like this happen? Where did it come from? These were the questions that immediately flooded Abby's mind. She knew she needed help, and fast. Panicked, Abby sought medical attention, but her ordeal was far from over. When she arrived at the doctor's office, she found herself facing puzzled expressions and furrowed brows. The medical professionals had never seen anything like this before. An eye infection, perhaps? Or maybe a rare allergic reaction. But a worm living inside her eye? It seemed impossible. But as they examined her more closely, the truth became undeniable. Abby was dealing with something extraordinarily rare. So rare, in fact, that it had never been seen in a human before. The parasite was eventually identified as Thalassiya gullosa, a type of eyeworm typically found in cattle. Abby's case was the first recorded instance of this parasite infecting a human. But how did a cattle parasite end up in Abby's eye? Thalassiya gullosa is known to be transmitted by a specific type of fly that feeds on the tears of livestock. These flies can carry the parasite from one host to another. It's believed that one of these flies somehow came into contact with Abby, perhaps while she was enjoying the outdoors, and transferred the parasite to her eye. The idea that a fly could deposit a worm into your eye is disturbing enough. Over the course of several days, doctors carefully removed a total of 14 worms from her eye. Each worm was small, measuring only about half an inch, but the psychological impact of having living creatures inside your eye is immeasurable. For Abby, the removal process was a harrowing experience. The worms were visible, wriggling just beneath the surface of her eye. Doctors used tweezers to extract them, one by one. It was a painstaking process, and every time they thought they had removed the last one, another would appear. As news of Abby's ordeal spread, it quickly captured the attention of the media. Social media platforms exploded with reactions. People were shocked, horrified, and fascinated in equal measure. The story seemed too strange to be true, and yet it was all too real. The viral nature of Abby's story wasn't just due to its bizarre medical aspects. It also tapped into a deep-seated fear that many of us have. The fear of something living inside us, something we can't see or control. Parasites in particular have a way of evoking primal fear, and Abby's case brought that fear to the forefront. But beyond the shock value, Abby's story also raised important questions about how parasites can cross the species barrier. In recent years, we've seen more and more examples of diseases and parasites jumping from animals to humans. While Abby's case remains rare, it serves as a reminder of the complex and often unpredictable interactions between humans and the natural world. Fortunately, Abby made a full recovery. After the last worm was removed, the irritation and discomfort finally subsided, but the psychological effects lingered. For Abby, the experience was life-changing. She had become the first human case of Thalassiya gullosa, a dubious distinction that she would carry with her for the rest of her life. Abby's story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Despite the horror of her experience, she remained composed, seeking medical help and facing the situation head-on. Her case also highlights the importance of paying attention to our bodies. What might seem like a minor irritation could sometimes be a sign of something far more serious. In a world where we are constantly exposed to new risks, both seen and unseen, stories like Abby's encourage us to remain vigilant and proactive in taking care of ourselves. So what can we learn from this extraordinary case? Perhaps the most important lesson is to never ignore the signals our bodies give us. Whether it's a strange sensation in your eye or an unusual ache, it's always better to seek help sooner rather than later. And in today's interconnected world, where diseases and parasites can cross borders and species, we must remain aware of the potential risks that come with our interactions with nature. Thank you for watching. If you found this story intriguing, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more incredible stories.